back to the channel this week. This week we're going to be comparing the 23 1.4R with the 23 WR f2. And we're going to see how they perform on this 40 megapixel sensor. And obviously one of them is not supposed to resolve 40 megapixels and the other one is. And I don't know what I'm going to see, but to be honest with you, I bet I'm not going to see much of a difference at all, because you really have to pixel peep to actually see any kind of difference in detail. That's my feeling anyway. And we're going to go look at that right now. And we've made some shots here at wide open, and we've made some from let's see, from 2 all the way up to f8. And I honestly think that I'm not going to be able to see that much of a difference. Hopefully it's not much of a difference at all, because I've been shooting with the 23 1.4R since I got it, which was last week, and I got to tell you, I can't tell much of a difference at all. Well, I'm not looking for a difference. I'm just looking to see whether the lens is performing well or not, and right now it is. I love the way it looks. And you know, one's smaller, a lot smaller, the other one's much larger and focuses. Hey, let me tell you the difference here between the 1.4 and the f2. One is way smaller, way quieter, and weighs a lot less and is weatherproofed. The other one is much larger and is not weatherproofed and is slower at focusing and weighs a lot more. And I gotta tell you, the difference between the two is one lens is great for just taking out, run and gun. It's great. This 1.4, I love the clutch focusing, the manual clutch focusing, but I also love the look at 1.4. Not necessarily close up, but it's a different lens, and it's a tool used for different things. Great lens, but used differently than the f2, which is like a smaller version of it, like a Summicron. So let's see what they look like. And we're going to take a look at these two lenses and whether or not they resolve 40 megapixels or not. The one on the left is the 23 1.4R, and the one on the right is the 23 f2WR. And these two images are shot at f8. Everything's all leveled up, perfectly done for this kind of a test, the old wall test. Now the difference is that the lobster traps in the foreground here are basically just in the foreground, and if they're out of focus at some point, it's just because the depth of field is not quite right. We're going to be looking primarily at the coffee break sign, and then on the same level here, over to the left and over to the right, and in the corners, and see how they work out. So here we're going to blow them up to 100% now. And remember what I said, the one on the left is the 1.4R, and the one on the right is the f2R. And I honestly, this is at f8, I honestly cannot tell one from the other. They look exactly the same. So let's go into the corners here. I'll go up here in the corners, and they look pretty much the same. There might be a little more light here on the one on the right. If we go down here, jeez, they just look so exactly the same. Oop. So we're going to go into the right, up the right corner here. And like I said, there's a little more light on the one on the right. But if you look at the detail here, you know, I'm seeing a little bit more contrast. No, I can't tell the difference. Sorry, I can't tell the difference. Let's look at this welcome sign down here. They're almost exactly the same. Unbelievable. So you can take my word for it at f8. You can take that 23 1.4R out there with the 40 megapixel sensor on the XT5 and not be worried about it at all. Okay, so here we are at 5.6, 23 1.4R on the left and 23 f2WR on the right. And we're back at the same thing again. They look exactly the same. I'm pretty amazed by this. One lens, costs like $1,000 new, and the other one costs $400 new. All right, so let's look in the corners again, and we're seeing the same thing. I can't really tell a difference. Look in the corner. Oh, jeez, they look exactly the same. And let's see, how are we doing up here? Yeah, not much difference at all. Oh. So, at 5.6, put it in the bank. You can take that 2314R out with your XT5 and the 40 megapixel sensor, or the XH2, and have no issue at all. Okay, so I'm starting to see a minor change. And this is at f4. And what I'm seeing is a little more detail here in this sign. It's very minor. Very minor, but it looks a little bit sharper in this sign. As you can see over here, it doesn't look as sharp. The difference here is that the foreground with the 1.4R lens is starting to go a little bit out of focus. So you can see it's sharp over here with the WR, but it's out of focus here with the 1.4R. Now, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I thought they'd be exactly the same. Now, I didn't change the focus at all. Everything is focused in exactly the same place. As a matter of fact, I used autofocus to focus on it, and I focused on this area right in here. Right in here, I focused on this area right in here, and as soon as I did the autofocus, I put it on manual focus. I flipped the switch over to manual. Now, let's see. I don't know why this is. Somebody's going to be able to tell me. I don't know why. Maybe because of the design of the lens. I don't know. But if we go up into the corner here, I can still see a little bit better resolution here on the one on the left, which is the 1.4R. Let's go over here to the right-hand side, and you can still see a little bit more sharpness in the detail, which, and it's minor, but it is there. Okay, so let's go over to the f2.8 version, 2.8, and the difference between the resolving lens and the non-resolving lens, which is the 1.4R on the left, is pronounced. And this has just got to be because the lens is better. So you can look at this sign. Let's look at the sign again, and you can see over here on the left, it's better. It's a little bit muddled here on the right. It's not nearly as good, not nearly as sharp. Okay, let's go to the corners here. Okay, in the corner, you can definitely see that there is a big difference between this and this. Yep. Now, you can tell we're starting to really go out of focus in the foreground here. Let's go all the way over to the right corner. And there's definitely a difference between the two. Look at this over here, and this over here is not nearly as sharp. So, but, as I said before, there's a big difference in the foreground. It's got to be lens design because we're focused in exactly the same place. Wow. Didn't expect that at all. Didn't expect this. One's supposed to resolve and the other one's not supposed to resolve. Here we are at f2. Don't mind the banging in the background if you can hear it. They're breaking rocks up next door, or I should say in the back of my house. So anyway, this is at f2, and in the focus area, the difference is even more surprising. I shouldn't say surprising because the lens is a really high quality lens. It's just older. But you can see at f2 on the WR lens, it's not nearly as sharp as it could be. But it's not terrible. But you can see here that it's much sharper with the 1.4R lens. So let's look over in the corner, and yeah, there's a difference. And same thing down here. Let's go over here to the other corner, and yes, you can see that it's much better over here. So that was different, wasn't it? I didn't expect this 1.4R to do as well as it did against this resolving 23 f2 WR. Love this lens for what it is, but also love this lens right here. Just got this a couple of weeks ago and really enjoying it. So, you know, take that for what it is. Not a really very scientific experiment, and I was not expecting it to compare the lenses so much, but the amount of detail. And at f8 and 5.6, no difference at all. Started getting a little weird around 4 and 5.6, excuse me, around 4 and f2.8 and 2. But be honest with you, I'm going out with this lens often and not worrying about it at all. And I'm going to go out with this lens here just as often, and I know I'm not going to have any problems with that at all because I haven't in the past. So that's it for this week, and I hope you liked what we got. And remember, it's not what you photograph, it's how you photograph it, and we'll catch you next time.